Hi viewers, welcome to Deep Dive America, where we uncover the darkest secrets of history, politics, and unsolved mysteries. Today we're diving into one of America's most infamous cold cases, the brutal murder of Elizabeth Short, better known as the Black Dahlia. For over 75 years, her gruesome killing has haunted Los Angeles, spawning countless theories, suspects, and wild conspiracies. But what if the truth has been hiding in plain sight? Recent investigations and newly uncovered evidence point to a shocking possibility. A suspect long overlooked, with ties to law enforcement and a disturbing history of violence. Was the Black Dahlia murder solved decades ago, only to be buried under corruption and secrecy? In this video, we'll expose the most compelling evidence, analyze the key suspects, and reveal why this case may finally be cracked. Stick around, because what you're about to hear changes everything. On January 15, 1947, a horrific discovery was made in a vacant Los Angeles lot. The bisected body of 22-year-old Elizabeth Short posed in a grotesque display, drained of blood and mutilated beyond recognition. The press dubbed her the Black Dahlia, a name that would become synonymous with unspeakable horror. The crime scene photos alone were enough to traumatize seasoned detectives, and the sheer brutality suggested a killer with surgical precision or deranged obsession. But who could have done this? Short's life was shrouded in mystery. A young woman chasing Hollywood dreams, surrounded by shady characters, her final days a blur of diners, bars, and cryptic encounters. Rumors swirled about her associations with wealthy men, drifter lovers, and even underground crime rings. Yet no clear suspect emerged from the chaos of her tangled world. The LAPD launched one of the largest manhunts in history, yet the case quickly grew cold, bogged down by false confessions, media frenzy, and police incompetence. Over 150 suspects were interviewed, from abusive ex-boyfriends to underground abortionists, but no arrest was ever made. The lack of justice only fueled darker theories. Was the killer a powerful figure the police protected? A serial murderer who vanished into the shadows? Or someone hiding behind a badge? Some whispered of occult rituals, while others pointed to a network of corrupt elites who ensured the truth would never surface. Decades later, the Black Dahlia's case remains a chilling enigma, her name etched into history as a symbol of both tragedy and the terrifying unknown. The files may have yellowed with age, but the questions linger, haunting those who dare to dig deeper into the abyss of her unsolved murder. For decades, one name has lurked in the background of the Black Dahlia case: Dr. George Hodel, a wealthy physician with a twisted personal life and rumored connections to the occult. Hodel wasn't just any suspect. His own son, LAPD homicide detective Steve Hodel, would later accuse him of the murder after uncovering chilling evidence in his father's private papers. Among these were cryptic notes, disturbing photographs, and even sketches that mirrored the grotesque staging of Elizabeth Short's body, details only the killer could have known. George Hodel had the means, the surgical skill, and a history of violent behavior toward women, with multiple allegations of abuse and manipulation shadowing his privileged existence. He was even investigated by the LAPD in 1949 after his secretary alleged he'd performed illegal abortions, but the case was mysteriously dropped, buried under suspicious circumstances. Even more damning, a secret LAPD recording from 1950, where Hodel is heard saying, "Supposin' I did kill the Black Dahlia." They couldn't prove it now, followed by eerie laughter, a confession wrapped in arrogance as if he knew he was untouchable. But the most shocking twist? Hodel was close friends with corrupt LAPD officials, including the chief of police, who may have shielded him from scrutiny, ensuring the investigation never reached his doorstep. Was this why the case went nowhere? Why crucial leads vanished and witnesses suddenly clammed up? And why, years later, when Steve Hodel pushed for DNA testing on a sealed envelope linked to the murder, one that could have contained trace evidence, the LAPD refused, citing lost records and bureaucratic red tape. The evidence against George Hodel is circumstantial but staggering. His personal photo albums contained images of women posed in macabre, doll-like positions, mirroring the Dahlia's final display. His lavish Hollywood home, a known gathering place for artists and degenerates, was a short walk from the body dump site, placing him squarely in the killer's geography. His later life in Asia only deepened the suspicions, as he faced further accusations of violence and exploitation, suggesting a pattern of predation that spanned continents. If he wasn't the killer, why does every clue, every hidden document, every whispered accusation, every piece of suppressed evidence lead back to him? And if he was, what other horrors did he commit under the protection of powerful allies? The Black Dahlia's ghost may never rest, but the shadow of George Hodel looms larger than ever, a specter of guilt that refuses to fade. The deeper you dig into the Black Dahlia case, the more it reeks of institutional corruption and deliberate sabotage. The LAPD in the 1940s wasn't just disorganized, it was a cesspool of bribery, backdoor deals, organized crime connections, and outright incompetence at every level. Critical evidence didn't just vanish, it disappeared under highly suspicious circumstances. Elizabeth Short's personal belongings, key witness statements, crime scene photographs, and even the original autopsy report were all either lost, tampered with, or outright destroyed. Detectives themselves later admitted that evidence had been lost or misplaced, which fits a pattern that doesn't suggest accident. It screams cover-up. Even more suspicious is the fact that the lead investigator, Harry Hansen, who had begun focusing on Dr. George Hodel as a prime suspect, was suddenly and inexplicably pulled from the case without explanation. Then there's the red lipstick murder, a chillingly similar case where another woman was found bisected in the same brutal manner, months before the Dahlia killing. That case was also quietly shelved, with virtually no media coverage and no serious follow-up. Coincidence? Or evidence of a serial killer operating with impunity while the LAPD looked the other way? And what about the press? Rather than hold the authorities accountable, newspapers at the time chose to sensationalize Elizabeth Short's death, portraying her as a promiscuous party girl, a smear campaign that conveniently shifted public attention away from the mounting police failures. Meanwhile, witnesses who could have blown the case wide open were either intimidated, dismissed, or ignored entirely. One particularly damning incident involved a local bartender who claimed to have served Short and a mysterious, well-dressed man just hours before her murder. He was later found dead, his death ruled a suicide despite his family's insistence he was murdered to silence him. The deeper you look, the clearer it becomes. Someone powerful didn't want this case solved. Whether it was to protect a sadistic killer with elite connections or to bury the grotesque failures of the LAPD, the end result is the same. The truth was buried with Elizabeth Short. In recent years, breakthroughs in forensic technology and relentless digging by researchers have unearthed bombshell clues that may finally crack the Black Dahlia case wide open. First, the infamous taunting letter sent to the press in 1947, purportedly from the killer, and containing Elizabeth Short's personal documents, was re-examined using modern handwriting analysis techniques. The results sent chills through the investigative community. A near-perfect match to George Hodel's distinctive script, right down to the unusual punctuation and slant. Then there's the crucial envelope sealed with the killer's saliva, still sitting in LAPD evidence lockers but suspiciously never subjected to DNA testing. Steve Hodel's repeated attempts to get it analyzed were mysteriously blocked under flimsy pretenses, raising the obvious question, what damning truth are they desperate to keep buried? Even more compelling is a recently uncovered 1949 psychiatric evaluation of Hodel, where a prominent doctor documented his homicidal tendencies and disturbing obsession with dissecting female bodies. Phrasing that mirrors the Dahlia crime scene with unsettling precision. Meanwhile, enhanced analysis of the original crime scene photos reveal ligature marks that perfectly match a specific surgical clamp Hodel was known to possess. a tool only someone with medical training would use. Multiple witnesses have since come forward, placing Hodel at critical locations during Short's final days, including the Biltmore Hotel where she was last seen alive. But the most damning evidence emerged in 2018 when contractors renovating Hodel's former Hollywood residence discovered hidden floorboards concealing a secret cache of photographs, including one depicting a young woman bearing an uncanny resemblance to Elizabeth Short, posed in the same grotesque manner as her corpse. This photographic evidence, combined with Hodel's later years in the Philippines, where he was accused of running a brutal sex cult and linked to several unsolved murders of local women, paints the portrait of a lifelong predator who refined his horrific craft. Yet despite this mountain of evidence, the LAPD continues to refuse reopening the case, offering ever-changing excuses that don't withstand scrutiny. The uncomfortable truth may be that solving America's most infamous cold case would expose the department's historic corruption, forcing them to admit they not only failed Elizabeth Short, but actively protected her killer. While the world remembers the Black Dahlia as Hollywood's greatest unsolved mystery, the horrifying reality is that her murderer was likely identified years ago. The real enigma isn't who committed the crime, but how many people in power worked to ensure he would never face justice, and how many other victims might have been spared if someone had stopped him sooner. The Black Dahlia case isn't just another chilling true crime story. It's a haunting window into the darkest corners of power, institutional corruption, and the devastating failures of the justice system that was supposed to protect the innocent. Elizabeth Short's murder wasn't just a gruesome act of violence, it became a symbol of how easily a vulnerable life can be chewed up and discarded by a society more concerned with image, influence, and silence than with truth and accountability. While George Hodel stands as the most compelling suspect, thanks to disturbing details, damning evidence, and even his own son's investigation, the bigger, more unsettling crime might be the cover-up that followed, one that suggests protecting reputations mattered more than justice. The police missed leads, destroyed evidence, and shut down lines of inquiry that might have cracked the case wide open. Was it incompetence? Or something far more sinister? So what do you think? Was George Hodel truly the twisted mind behind the Black Dahlia killing? Or is there another buried truth that's still hiding behind decades of silence and fear? Could someone even more powerful have orchestrated the crime and gotten away with it? Let us know your theory in the comments, and if you found this deep dive into one of America's most disturbing unsolved mysteries as shocking and infuriating as we did, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss our next investigation. This is Deep Dive America, where the past isn't just history, it's a mystery still echoing in the present. Until next time, don't stop asking questions. Keep digging, keep uncovering. The truth is out there.